Hey, good morning.
Morning, Dustin.
Good morning, Dustin. Good morning, Casey. This is Mike.
Good
Morning,
morning.
Mike.
I'm on the road right now getting some food for my fiance, taking it to work for her.
That's cool.
With June. Say hi, June.
Hey, June. All she cares about is if you're getting her something too.
Yeah, I know. Too bad that she doesn't get house food. I'll give her every once in a while. How's everyone doing?
Another fine day.
Yes, it is. One last one before it gets cold around here.
Hey, y'all.
Where you
Morning.
located at? What's going on, Drew?
Oh, you know, another day of paradise. Just heard Casey say another fine day, too.
Yeah.
So how's it going? We got Mike, Dustin.
Everything's
How's it
good.
going?
Hey,
Everything's going good. How's the marriage life?
Oh, it's pretty fun. It's like everything's changed and nothing has. So so yeah, this is an open session for everybody who joins. So yeah, if there's any questions or anything that you guys have, we can help get you going and get you answered.
well, I got a question about Makerverse. I've been using 1.1.15 for a while. Is there any plan to update that, fix any bugs, or release it, or is it going to stay in beta?
Do you mean 1.1.5?
Sure. Yeah.
That one? Yeah, okay. So it is going to be in beta, and we're working on a vast update to it. So I'm not sure when that one's going to come out of beta, but several of those beta features have been rolled into a new version. So I'm not sure the answer to that. To be
The
perfect.
reason why I'm asking is that I keep running into an issue that if I do just about anything, if I pause the program, it will require me to reset it, which makes me lose all of my settings.
I know that there was some buggy stuff in the betas, which is
Okay.
also why we didn't want it to go live yet. So our last stable release is 1.1.3. And that's the one that I have the most experience with. I've used the beta a little bit just to test it, but I haven't done any rigorous testing on it. I think Mike and Casey have worked with the betas definitely more than I have. So they could probably answer some of those beta questions for you. Do you guys have any ideas to help Dustin out with that?
No, I've seen what Dustin is talking about, but the thing is for mine, it's intermittent. Sometimes it happens, sometimes it doesn't. So I don't know if it's something with the code in the background. It hangs up on another line of code or something like that. But right now I just don't pause it unless I don't have to.
Right.
I mean, that's I know that's a shitty thing to say, but that's what I have been.
Yeah, and that's why they're betas. You know what I mean? Because issues like that happen.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's kind of why I was wondering if there's going to be another one coming out soon.
I know we're
Because-
coming out with the 2.0, but I believe that's till after Christmas, if I'm not mistaken. Correct, Drew?
Okay.
Yeah, that's when that new version will be coming out. It'll be coming out
Yes.
in January. Yeah. So
I
Give or
was,
take.
I was told Q1 of next year sometime.
yeah, but the goal is January. Don't hold me to that. Yeah.
Yeah.
I said Q1.
Yeah.
January, February, or
It's
March.
better to
Somewhere.
say you want, yeah. Yeah, and when we're rolling some of those features in, but like I said, yeah, that's it. The beta's had some problems. I know there's some issues with the offsets too, where like if you try to run 2 cuts in a row without actually closing Makerverse, then it will like offset a little bit and it can get kind of wonky. And I know that's been an issue in the betas as well. If you don't completely close down Makerverse and then open it back up again, like between your cuts. So
Oh, like if someone's doing the same thing, like repeatedly, like 4 or 5 of the same thing.
mhm.
Okay.
Yeah, then it can shift. For some reason, it's shifting on the Y, like usually about 17 millimeters, like over to the side. And we're trying to figure out why. And I think it has to do, well, at least the last thing that I heard the conversations about was with like absolute versus like relative positioning inside of the code. And it's trying to figure out exactly where that is. And I know that's been another one of the reasons why the betas haven't completely gone live yet, because they're still kind of buggy. Even though 1.1.3 isn't perfect either, we're definitely aware of that, which is why we're trying to roll a lot of that stuff into the new upgraded version, just to make the whole user experience when you're cutting things and also the whole onboarding experience in general just easier.
Okay, that sounds fine. Is there a way? I haven't actually tested this. I just thought about it just now. Is there a way to have both versions, 1.1.3 and 1.1.5, living at the same time on the same computer, or do you have to uninstall and downgrade?
I know the old version you had to uninstall it, but I'm not sure. I think you can.
You do have to uninstall it. You can't have them run through both.
Okay.
You could use if you want to use VirtualBox, you can just
Can I have
install
some
VirtualBox
spicy,
and run 2 that way.
oh, can I have some extra ones? Yeah, can I have some extra
Yeah,
ones?
so I can tell
Mike,
you,
Yeah, I'm going to 2 different locations. All right, thank you, man.
I can tell you for a fact, you have to uninstall it on a Mac. On a
Yeah.
Bill Gates machine, I have no idea. Him and me don't get along. So
Yeah, you still have to do it on a PC.
okay, there you go then.
What if you
So
put in a different drive? Like if you have multiple drives, can you install it on a different hard drive, or would that?
no, because they're still going to share the same DLLs.
Okay, so it's still
Yeah,
one.
same drivers.
Yeah, you're gonna have issues with you're gonna have issues if you try to do it, and it's gonna force you either way. But what I would do if you want to do a VirtualBox, or if you have a Raspberry Pi, set up a Raspberry Pi with image with the and then have a beta version of the other one. Because I have multiple machines, because PCs are so cheap. I just you can get like I pick up Core i7, like 4th or 5th gen Core i7s for $25 now,
Yeah.
and you can have just a separate little PC for it if you want it, or do set up a Raspberry Pi image.
Workarounds. Yeah.
Yeah, okay. That helps out. I was hoping I was able to keep 1.1.5 because I really like some of the features. Like setting up work position is a breeze, just clicking that button, moving to where I want to go and all that, compared to the older versions. But I think I got to go back. Just some of those little bugs are just what's really annoying is changing tool bits in the middle of the process and losing that work position. That is like the nightmare. I can't get it to 0 back in the exact same spot. I'm usually like a 0.5 millimeter off, and that just drives me nuts.
That ruins the cut. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure.
So this is a question for Drew. When is the new release, the new firmware update and everything coming out for the 300X?
So that is I'm testing that right now, actually, Casey.
Ah.
So I have filament runout sensor in there. I have bed temp to maintain 100C, so you can print in materials, and then also changing the onboarding process to make it easier to get started with both the touch calibration and also loading filament and everything like that with beginners. So it's got like more picture tutorials and stuff like that. So that's super soon. So yeah, as soon as I get this tested a little bit, Casey, I'll set it your way. Sure.
Yeah, so it has the on-screen display. It shows you the 25 spots, 15 spots, or whatever for the bed leveling.
Doesn't have that yet. Yeah, I know. Because of the Raspberry Pi, it just adds a whole nother layer of complexity. So it doesn't have that sort of Yeah, we want to have that someday, but it doesn't happen.
How about the new build plates? Did you find some that don't warp so badly? The magnets in them. I think that's
So
the,
I've been testing
because the
some
one
metal ones.
I have two that you had sent me, and both of them after two prints, they sit on the deck like this. They just the magnets die on them.
So I have a thicker one that I've used. That it's just making it thicker. It's just the thicker metal plate that seems to be working a lot better. So I'm kind of finalizing that one too, and I'll send. I think I got another one around here. I'll send one to you if I do. I'll be in touch.
Yeah, because right now I took off the build plate and I put an aluminum plate on there, but then I got to cover the damn thing in tape. So to be honest with you, using the 300X is a pain. I haven't used it.
Casey,
And
go,
then the
glass with
just
almost
demagnetized at high temps.
Yeah.
Too. So
that's- but I'm only running at 65C.
Okay, then you should be fine. Yeah,
I should be fine, but they still demagnetize. That's my point.
Okay. Oh, okay.
So I would go with glass. I've just stuck with glass with glue sticks over the years.
Yeah.
Because the nice thing too is you can always, if you want to wash it, glue sticks are water soluble. So once if you leave residue, you just rinse it off. And honestly, if you want a damn good like rock solid method, glass with glue sticks. And it works on ABS, PLA, PETG, TPU, whatever you need.
Yeah.
This is the Elmer glue.
I'm not a huge fan of the glue sticks, especially with schools, because the glass can chip when they're trying to scrape prints off or moving stuff off of there.
Hey, the best way to teach kids how to be careful with glass is let them get some glass in their hands.
Hey, I see Lauren on here. I haven't seen you for a while, Lauren.
Come on.
Yeah, it's been a hectic little bit of time. Been making ornaments out of every corner of my machine. I'm probably gonna make well over 1,000 before Christmas gets here. So
I shut down an actual store. I did not want to do like I did last year with those dumpster fires. Everybody's like, that was good. That was an absolute nightmare. It made good money, but that was a nightmare. So I was like, I'm not doing that.
Yeah, we actually have a couple of shows coming up, so that's going to be a good time.
Nice.
Selling a lot of those.
How many do you fit? Can you fit across on like a 4x8 sheet?
I think I can fit just under 100 comfortably on a 4x8 sheet. So the real challenge is that MDF cuts amazing. Like it cleans up fast, it cuts amazing. The problem is a lot of customers want wood, and 1/2-inch wood plywood, it's hit or miss, whether the laminate or the outside edge, I'm trying to think what that's called. Yeah, it's just sometimes the cleanup's fast, sometimes it's slow. And a lot of the ornaments take under 3 minutes to make, but the paw prints have become extremely popular. And that little inside paw print, it's just a pain to sand. So I'm looking at other options for detailed sanding, and I've made little tools that make it faster, but getting quality sandpaper is the problem. It just wears down so fast. So I'm playing different.
Have you looked at getting a sandblasting setup yet?
No, the problem is that it'll take this like sandblasting, because I talked to some different people. It'll take the little fuzzies off, but the swirl marks that you just get from just using any kind of bit, and I'm like maximizing my bits a little much.
Because I've been using for some of that stuff. If you use so I'll either use walnut or I'll use glass, and I can recycle it. I have a tent that I recycle it in.
Yeah.
Stuff like that, and so you don't have to. You can just keep recycling it for a while, and you can go to Harbor Freight and get one of the air guns. I have a cabinet, but the little tent and just recycling it works really well. And if you do it with walnut, it'll get those inside out without cutting the wood away. Have you do walnut shell?
I need to invest in it. And I don't know. I enjoyed making the ornaments, and it's the machine's just going at it. But yeah, I don't know. It's a lot of them. So my wife's out buying more material as I sit here now, taking my day off.
Are you using a step over to get those swirly lines off?
Say that again. Sorry.
Are you using a step over? to get those swirly lines off on the bits when you're going inside those balls.
Yeah, so I mean, I'll run a cleanup pass. The real problem is I get about 20 or so real clean cuts before the bits just start dulling, because I'm just going ornament after ornament after ornament.
Yeah.
And those pocket passes, they just wear out the bit over time because it's just.
You need a laser. You need the lasers will save you so much time and energy.
Yeah.
A big laser, because you'll if you get like one of those 15 watt or one that can cut for the M2, and then you're not gonna be changing bits all the time and everything else. And you can do V cuts and all that. You
That's
do
not
a
going to
great
cut
job.
in. We don't have the.
I know it's not
power
gonna,
to cut
the
that.
one right now, that 15 watts not gonna do it, but later on.
Oh, we've got the budgeting figured out. We're trying to see what it's going to look like for the end of the year, how much money we can blow come middle of December, and then because I'm not trying to spend any money in taxes, and the goal isn't to make a lot of money, it's to spend it all. So
Lauren, just so on the wood, when your customers are requiring the wood, and you cut it with the M2, on the fuzz that are on the inside radiuses, those things are a pain in the ass to sand down smooth, right?
yeah.
So one of the things that you can do, this sounds really stupid, but it works, is take a damp washcloth and rub on the inside of the surface where you're going to sand. And what that does is it expands the wood grain, and it makes the little hairs that you're trying to sand off, it makes them stand up. And then you can just go through with the final pass on your unit with the bit,
Yeah.
and it'll take those off.
Yeah, oh shit, that's
Basically,
smart.
yeah.
Yeah,
That's
that's
basically
really
what
smart.
you're doing is raising the grain.
Yep.
Yeah, I've done that before with other cuts, but not to the paw prints. The only challenge that the paw prints the ornaments that I'm finding is normally when I'm doing a cut. By the time I'm doing a cut, you know, it's already, I can see it. The real pain in the butt that it's being is I have to do like 3 cuts of a paw print before I can access one of the paw prints, just because the sled covering it up.
Spray it, yeah. Spray
Yeah.
it with maybe take a spray bottle, a really light mist, and as it's cutting, just shoot a little spray in there. So that means it'll get off most of the hairs on the cut, because you're cutting, you know, whatever depth at whatever time. As it's cutting, just shoot a little bit of really light
The real
mist.
myth, yeah.
Yeah, and it'll take off all the hairs except for probably the bottom pass. So you'll get most of it off while it's cutting. I don't know, just a thought.
No, I
You always have
can go out
the
the garage in a
coolest
minute
little
and show you.
tips and
Like,
tricks, Kate. You need
I
to-
can show you. Yeah, give me a minute. I'll just run out. I'll grab, because I did a bunch of them last night. I'll show you one that I didn't get. I was like, no, I'm going to bed. I'm tired. So some of them I didn't finish, and then one that I did. I'll show you in just a second.
Well, while Lauren's going and grabbing that, does anybody have any other questions or any other projects that they're working on?
Happy married life.
Thank you.
Sorry, I've been the last couple of weeks.
Pretty
I've
awesome.
been just working. I've been working. I'm rearranging things again and trying to shift and. I'm gonna do stuff for a mini golf course. One of my friends has a mini golf course,
Oh, that's right.
and he's like, he wants to do some like just little things for the mini golf course, like obstacles and all that. I was like, so I thought it'd be fun. He's gonna pay for all the supplies, stuff like that, and he just wants to use them as. I was like, awesome. So I'll get pictures of that for you.
Cool. Yeah.
Yep.
So how are you going to prepare that? Are you going to use, like, I've seen some outdoor plywood and things, but I don't know if I really trust that. Like, what are you going to make for outdoor use? Are you just going to like paint it and seal it a whole bunch so it can?
I just told him to use that outdoor, what do you call it? The pressure treated wood. The pressure treated particle board, because he doesn't need it fancy. This thing's probably last 2 years before he throws them away and does something else. So I think that he redoes this every couple of years anyways, just to keep it marketed. But did y'all see that foam sign we did for Beer Fest?
Yeah, you
So
should.
the Beer Fest sign came out. I don't know if I have a picture of it right here, but the Beer Fest sign came out good. We did out the pink foam again, and we made it look like it was hand done.
This stuff is pretty cool to work with.
Well, all of the outdoor Christmas ornaments and Thanksgiving ornaments that I've made over the years, I buy marine grade plywood. And I mean, I've got the whole, for Christmas, we've got the whole Peanuts character set up where they're ice skating and all that crap. And those things are they're almost 19 years old now. So I mean,
That's awesome.
it lasts. They're not outside all day, but for
Right.
2 months out of the year, they sit out in the snow and the rain and everything else.
Yeah, that's awesome. So marine grade. I wonder how expensive that's going to be though in the middle of the country. That's what makes me think about that. Like, is that like, what's the price comparison from like marine grade versus, like regular ply?
It's about $15 more for a sheet. So
That's not too bad then. Yeah.
I mean, the
Yeah,
value,
it's not too bad if you're gonna be
the
having a couple
value
years.
is there.
Yeah. It's going to last for 5 years.
Hey, I've got a quick question, real quick, if I can.
Yeah.
I just set up the MakerMade. I just bought it a couple weeks ago, and I haven't calibrated it or anything, but it's fully assembled. But I've got 2 extra flat gears. And I
Yes.
don't know, are they supposed to be extras?
Yeah.
Okay,
It
I just wanted to make sure.
Yep.
It
You're totally
depends
fine.
on your setup. It depends on your setup. So if you're
Okay.
building the mini frame, those little extra flat gears were designed to help you reroute all the extra chain from the 10-foot chains that you get standard with the unit. So if you're building the large frame, the extra large, whatever it's called today, you'll have those 2 left over because you're only going to use four of those gears. One on each motor, and then the 2 little flat ones with the hole in the middle. You'll just use only 2 of those.
Yeah.
Right. Okay, cool. Yeah, that makes me feel better because I didn't want to fire anything up. I read through the instructions once again, passed through it, and I was like, oh man, I'm bad about taking things apart and not getting it all back together and having extra parts. And this was just the opposite. So
Yeah. It intentionally comes with some extra ones.
okay. And
yeah.
then the other thing too, is anybody on here that's using V-Carve by any chance?
I use
It was
these
last
cards.
And Mike does. Yeah.
Okay, and I don't want to spend a lot of time on this, but what kind of post processor are you using in there to get your G code, or TB, or whatever?
I use just regular Gerbil, but I also have a CNC that's a 1finity, and I have a post processor that I got from them, and I use it, and it works the same way as for the MakerMade.
Okay, yeah, I noticed that the MakerMade, it seemed like it took what was it, DB files or something like that, and I just wasn't. It was 2 letters, and I
durable.
wasn't used. Was it? It'll do GRBL too.
Yeah. Well,
Yes.
the MakerMade system, actually MakerVerse, is 100% GRBL driven. So
Okay,
any post
I'll test that.
processor you use, as long as it will extract a GRBL code for it,
Okay.
and GRBL file, you can use any post processor.
Okay. Whenever I did an import, I think it was on MakerVerse. I just saw that too, that extension. I wasn't sure if it was specific to the MakerMade or not.
Sorry, Drew, I'm answering
Thanks.
your question.
Oh, you're fine. Yeah, it's totally fine. It's been a couple weeks since I've cut something, so it's totally you've cut more recently than I have, I'm sure. So, yeah. So anything that is like, that's one of the reasons why we talk about easel as like the very first thing to jump into, because it has like a Gerbil GRBL right out of the gate from it. And there's lots of other ones that you can use too. I know that we've talked about several of these, in these sessions. Yeah, any post processor, as long as it exports that, you can use whichever one you want.
I got a question. A couple days ago we figured out the calibration, but we were trying to get into easel, so we logged out of the MakerVerse and it wouldn't let us back in. And my friend Steve, I believe he emailed you guys about it. He
Is
put a
that the
ticket
expired
in.
SSL certificate?
Run it by me again.
Well, did it say that like your password was invalid, or is that what it said?
Yeah, I actually created another account as well, and it just completely locked us out.
Huh.
Yeah, I did have an SSL cert issue for a while, but that wouldn't have just locked you out. That would have just said,
Yeah.
that's your site.
So when did you get a response back from us when you messaged support?
I believe he responded. I'm not with him at the moment, but he said he was just waiting on your response. I guess somebody told him to do screenshots of whatever came up on a monitor, and he did that. So he was just waiting on a response.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah, that was me. I remember that. I have to look into that. I'll be looking into that.
All right, cool.
So
Appreciate
I can tell you this. I know for a fact that if I'm using the laser and not the milling component on M2, if I'm using the laser and I have Lightburn open and I go to log into Makerverse, it won't let me. So
Okay.
the Lightburn and Makerverse, they don't mix. And I know my Microsoft Teams for my work, sometimes I have that up because I'm chatting with people. If I have Microsoft Teams open and I try to log in and then access and connect Makerverse, nope, it doesn't like it. So there's software out there that Makerverse doesn't play friendly with. My advice is to shut all your software down. Any software you have running, shut all that down, then try to log in. See what happens.
Yeah, I think that's great advice. Like close everything and even restart your computer. So
Yeah, we did that.
Okay, good. Because on my Mac, sometimes something will just get locked in with a port, and like it happened in our like session last week. It will just clog the port basically, and it won't let Makerverse talk to other things, and that can I know have issues with both communicating with the M2 and then also log it in. So yeah, I would like close everything else, restart, and see if that works. And then you should be getting like an email when you sign up to confirm it. And in that email account too, and making sure that doesn't go to spam, that you confirm your email is also a step that you got to do as well.
Yeah, we were working with the Makerverse, and the last time we logged into this meeting, we were having trouble as far as calibration.
Yeah.
So we figured that out. We're just doing some practice cuts, and it worked fine. And then we were trying to actually start working with the easel, because we use Carbide. And we just saved the file, and then we're just opening up things on Carbide to do the shapes in that. So we were gonna link up the easel, and that's when all the problems happened. We logged out of the Makerverse and we weren't able to get back in.
Yeah, I'm not sure, because like so Carbide 3D has a post processor, so you can actually make it in Carbide and then import it into Makerverse.
Yeah.
You don't have to do the easel step. So it's like 3 different companies and 3 different companies programs trying to communicate. It's like Makerverse with us, Carbide 3D, and then easel with Inventables and Xcarve. So I don't know. It's weird that wouldn't be communicating back and forth if you haven't gotten the email. And you try to make a new account and that didn't work either.
Yeah, it wouldn't let me log in. It wouldn't let me connect.
Have you tried turning off your Wi-Fi and logging in? I've heard some people had some success with that.
Oh, there's a good tip. I'm not
I don't
sure.
know if it works. I've never tried it successfully for me. But I haven't had this issue. So I've just seen some other people have it.
On Facebook, right? They said they posted that.
Yeah, up on the Facebook forums.
Because then Makerverse can't communicate with the server, and it's going off of whatever it remembers on your computer, probably.
Okay.
So yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
So-
that's a good tip to try.
Now let me ask you a question. We were just just playing with the Carbide.
Gotcha.
Is there a way to link the Carbide software so you could send the job directly to the M2 from the Carbide software, or do you have to open it up and make in Makerverse?
Yeah, you have to open it up in Makerverse.
You
Okay.
You have to export it. You have to
Yes.
like export the G code
Yeah.
and then import it into Makerverse.
Okay.
Yeah, so just export it, save it to your desktop anywhere. I have a file where I put all G codes in. That way I got it in one spot, but export it from, I use VCarve, I use Carbide, I use all of them. So I just
Okay.
export those into the G code into that one file. Then I go into Makerverse, drop down, I do an import, and I can choose what file I want.
Yeah, usually when you're using, like, if you want to use like Carbide Create, if you want to run a machine, you have to actually run their machine. And the same thing for the Xcarve with easel, it's set up to run their machine.
All right, cool. I appreciate that. Yeah, I'll definitely try those. And I guess the other person that's on, they said they'll respond to that soon. They're working on it. So
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Michael. What was your friend's name? Steve
Steve Maldonado.
Maldonado. Yeah. Yeah. Michael follow up with that then.
Yeah, I'll take care of it. It's just I have to go in order every time I answer, you know. So
Okay,
but
cool.
you should be hearing from me today here shortly.
Okay, awesome. I appreciate that.
Sure.
Hey, I noticed this is being recorded. Do you guys post these out there on the website so we can look at historical meetings?
We do. They're on our YouTube. Yeah.
Oh,
So,
okay, perfect. I'll go out there and check them out.
so I export them. I try to remember to export them about once a month, but sometimes I forget and it's a couple months.
Oh, shame on you, man.
But there's quite a few that are out there. Like there's dozens and dozens of them that are on there.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah. So
And y'all have no idea how much Drew has on his plate, man. Drew does a
I
lot.
know. I believe it.
A lot.
That's why I was being sarcastic when I said
Yeah,
shame on you. I know how that goes.
Yeah, it's totally fine. Yeah, so the last time that I put them on there was in October, actually. Yeah, so the October ones are on there. So I think the Halloween one might not be, but the other ones are. So yeah, you can go and find these and use them as a support resource as well. Because we want to just kind of have them for posterity so you can go and kind of see all the things that we've talked about.
Yeah, I kind of want to get caught up. Maybe spend the afternoon watching a few of them. So
We did a business summit too a couple weeks ago, and that is on there as well. And that went really well with everybody talking about their different projects and things that they've done to make money with the M2. So you can check that one out.
that was 2 weeks ago.
I think it was like
2
3
weeks ago, you said?
like beginning of
Okay.
beginning of
October 6th
yeah.
or something like that.
Okay.
Yeah, but that's on our YouTube too. And that's
Awesome.
awesome. It's got a bunch of information about just like using your M2 as a side gig or a full gig.
Yeah.
Like what Lauren's doing.
Yeah, it looks like he's busy back there. He's got everybody recruited.
Yeah, you've got your helper there, Lauren, helping you
Yeah.
stand.
She follows me everywhere, and I got my second one. Yeah. You can say hey. Say hi. Can you say hi? Okay, no.
Stranger danger.
Yeah, but no, she comes out the garage and she gets excited. Yes.
Awesome. See what Dad's been up to. Yeah.
Do what,
Yeah.
Drew?
Just seeing what Dad's up to out there,
Yeah.
making lots of noise.
Uh-huh.
Hey Dennis, hey Tony, how's it going,
Hey.
guys?
Hey, what's up?
Any question, guys?
Yeah, can we help you with that thing? Whoop, I'm sorry, Dennis, you're breaking up there. I can't hear you.
I just got my machine up a week ago where I got it to do the test cut. I had some problems. The board was bad. I got a hold of Mike Garza, threw a ticket, and the sport was there. I had some things that held me up from getting it done. Had the frame built a long time, and then finally got deep into it. And I'm just listening to learn right now, and I learned a lot just listening today. One
Great.
thing I'm figuring out that I'm going to do is I'm probably going to get a dedicated computer. Like you said, having anything else run, remove a lot of programs, because the problem is these programs are putting to search for things. And when they come up, it does. I did music, and that's what I had to do when I had a lot of music and recording for my, I had a 24 music board on there, and all these programs, somehow they put stuff in there that search out, and they want to take over the computer. In the middle of your stuff, they do it.
Yeah, I would recommend that too. It's actually my computer right now is seeing better days, and it's going to become our shop computer. I'm going to find myself a Black Friday deal, and this will be our main like shop machine too, for the same reason. So we're not always having to switch machines and closing programs and all that kind of stuff. So yeah.
I heard the guy talk about having a problem, and you suggested, shutting them all down and then rebooting the thing. Anytime I have a login problem, that's what you ought to do, is just reboot the computer.
Turn off, turn it back on again. Yep. I did tech support for years, and that was like the most common thing that I had people do. It's like, just close it down and open it back up. Reboot your computer. And it's crazy how much that.
Yeah.
After toward the end of the year before the 2021 model come out, and I had the white case covered one, and my problem was couldn't plug it into the right place.
Oh yeah, that old case, that the case was wrong. I remember that. Yeah.
That was the original right?
That was the original launch. Yeah.
Yep,
That was
I
like
have-
right when I started. I started as that launch was happening. So yeah, I remember that.
Hey, that's the one I'm still using.
yeah, that's
Yeah.
the one
You cut the hole out. That's the one I use at home. Yeah.
I got the whole. All I did is I torched some kind of metal, and I just all I did is melt the plastic. You know what I mean? Because I was seeing people breaking it. You know, putting screws in it and breaking it. I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna melt it, and so I melted a hole, and it worked.
So I tried. So I was trying to make an ingot like this of copper. So I had a whole bunch of copper, and I have a kiln or whatever, and that's about as big as my copper. It's a horrible ingot, but yeah.
You melted
I just heard you say
copper?
nothing. Yeah, it's like a 10-pound block of copper. I had a bunch of old wires, stuff like that. I was trying to. And I got some of the imperfections out at the top, but there was wire in there that wasn't pure copper, and then my graphite, what do you call it, mold was. It was just. It's hard to make a solid ingot. Like little ingots.
Oh, is that like $1,000 with the $10 of copper? Like.
Yeah, but I wish it's
Yeah.
all scrap. I got around. I
See,
found out the junk, but it was
That's
kind of
not
fun.
something you want to be showing around. In
I know,
Missouri.
you
There's a
better
lot of
watch
people
out,
that
man.
steal that stuff.
Hey, there's a shotgun in my
Great
desk, so
construction
I don't
sites looking
think
for that ingot.
Yeah. It's while we're talking metal, has anybody successfully cut anything out of that 6061 aluminum yet? I thought I read something that this will do it.
I've
I
seen
did.
it.
We didn't cut it. We engraved it. Last year we engraved a plate, a 4x4 plate, and it
Okay.
cut it fine.
Okay.
You just want to use air. You want to put air. You want to take a compressor, put an air gun. We zip tied an air gun and put it on there, so it's blowing all the chips away.
Okay, cool.
You don't want to vacuum the chips up.
A lot of that is like what type of bit you're using and what type of router you're using, and yeah, and other
Right.
things that are with that. I saw a video of the original Maslow that was cutting metal that somebody had that was cutting thin aluminum, but I haven't personally cut metal with it either.
Aluminum works just like wood, and it cools fast too, so you don't have to worry about like bits overheating and stuff like that. But you do need a chip management. Make sure you're blowing those chips away. And so you can actually use wood bits on there. The wood bits will, like if you're using a 661, it's going to be, if you're using like a 4000 series, something like that, it's a little bit easier. Depends what series you're using. And,
I'm assuming the speeds are a lot slower too, right?
I don't remember what speeds, but
Okay.
aluminum will perform just like wood. But yeah, you don't want to do super fast.
Yeah, I think you can get like low and slow, just like if you're drilling through,
Right.
like my only experience with going through metal is like using a drill, and they're like really shallow bits, and then you go slow to go through it. So I think it's kind of the same type of concept with that.
Yeah, it should go slow. That's how it is with my bandsaw. So you have to go slower with metal.
So I've accidentally cut through metal a few times.
Yeah.
I've got a ruler, one of my rulers that I accidentally aluminum that I left behind, and I was like, "What is that weird sound?" And yes, I cut it at 35 inches per minute. About a
But it's just
16th of
sitting
an
there,
inch
just
cut,
like bouncing around.
sliced right through it. I was like, "That sounds
Wow.
really weird." I was like, "That's a wicked knot."
Makes you
Uh,
wonder. Right? Makes you wonder what else you can cut with it.
Nah, that'll all this will come in time. But yeah, I was just like, it cut right through it. It made a nice little arc in my ruler. Yeah, I just kind of felt stupid afterwards. I was like, why did I leave that there where I could accidentally cover it up with a piece of wood?
Hey, Lauren, you left earlier to go grab something to show us. What was it?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, your ornament.
So you'll see, this is what I mean by, I don't know if y'all can see the fuzzies there.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, those actually, a lot of them come off like really fast. Like I just run it over with a sander on a low setting, and it takes about 10 to 15 seconds with a sander, and those come off. You can see the outside. It's just that outer layer. It's just, but really that little contraption, because I had to send my desktop sander back to rigid because it started like knocking. So I'm waiting on that to come back. But the little jigsaw sander, in case you haven't tried it, it cleans these up. I don't know. I just run it around the outside and it knocks all those off. But you can kind of see the little passes. It almost looks like a fingerprint, right, from the passing. I don't know if y'all can see it there.
Mhm.
Yeah. So Lauren, I'm just curious, but it looks like it's only on the top and the bottom edges. It's not really in the center. But
Well,
if
you can kind of see there's a little bit, it's hard for the camera to see it.
Inside.
Yeah, inside.
I understand that.
Everybody's leaning forward.
But
Yeah, I know everybody's like, can we see it?
Yeah. You can see, I mean, this is with about 3 to 4 minutes of cleanup.
Well, I was just curious if you could use if you had I don't know, a router, and you literally put like a little 1/8 inch round over on the edge on the top and the bottom all the way around. Then you just have some hand sanding in the center. And again, I think you just
That's
spray
essentially, I've tried it both ways. It's about the same amount of time because this is the cleanup. And I realize the sun is killing the camera right now. But I mean, it cleans up really quickly. And you can see, I mean, obviously, other than like the gap, that's just, it is what it is. It cleans up really fast. And this was done last night. It takes, like I said, it takes about, I don't know, about 3 minutes worth of sanding. It's just when you're batching out, you know, 100 of these, that adds up quite a bit.
So just get less picky customers and tell them it's a handmade product. Shut up and take it.
And it's probably the
It
case.
was
And they
only
probably
that
don't
easy.
even know. They probably have no idea. But for me, every time I look at it, I'm like, I hate that. And it drives me nuts. Like, it's just like that piece right there, the backing. I pulled it off the board and it was just already, it just flaked off. It's just the plywood we're using right now. I think my wife let it get wet on the way home or something. And yeah.
Blame it on the
You
wife.
think that's a
Well,
product of
that's
the wood?
the
or-
easy excuse, right? She's out picking up more material now, so it should be good.
Oh, Mike's
But-
got calls too, I see.
Oh
Do
yeah.
you think that it's the wood that's causing that, or is it the bit, or just the way the design of
Well,
the machine, or?
So this one that you can't really tell because my camera doesn't have the resolution. When I have a fresh bit, there's almost no cleanup.
Gotcha.
So like I said, that only lasts for about 20 or so cuts before it slowly starts to add up. And I've really transitioned. I think it was not last week, but the week before last when I was on. I think it was a couple weeks ago, Drew, or something like that, that I went through the
Yeah,
bits that I used because I
Oh,
really
yeah.
started.
And the
as I started
Ananda,
batching
like,
out.
yeah, the like an Ananda coupler that you use, and
Yeah, I just started going a lot cheaper bits, and it works, but I'm only getting, you know, about half the cuts, but I'm spending 1/10 of the cost is what I was spending because I'm getting a bit now for about $3 a piece.
What size? What size of bit are you using?
And the 1/8 inch bits with a Amana tool. Can you stop messing with mama stuff? With an Amana tool, what do they call it?
Yeah.
To go in my router.
I'm gonna send you. Send me your address. And I'm gonna send you some router bits that I use, that I make. That actually my cousin, he has a machine shop and he's been making me some bits.
All right,
And
yeah,
so-
I can text that to you, Mike.
Yeah,
Well,
like all those that I tested, I cut over like maybe like, I don't know, a lot. I cut like 200 of them, and my bits barely started going out.
so y'all
Lauren,
make
you really need to
saws.
get you a 150 watt laser, because if you get or 120 watt CO2 laser, because those bear paws will take you about 30 seconds a piece to cut, and they'd be ready to go right out of the way. Because you could do that with 150 watt. You're using half inch. You're doing 2 pieces, right? Then glue them together, right?
Nope.
Now, this is just
Are
a
you-
pocket cut. It's just
Okay,
a
you're doing
pocket.
a pocket there. Okay. So you're maybe looking at a minute to do those each and ready to go right out of the box. No edge, nothing. And you'll get 10,000 hours of cuts before you have to change a tube.
Well, see, I considered doing what you were talking about, Drew, is actually doing doing 2 layers and then just popping them on top of each other.
Yeah.
But then you got cleanup glue, and then it takes a lot longer stuff.
Use super glue. Go Dollar Tree, super glue. Boom, no cleanup. Just do little touches. Pop. I had to
Yeah,
make. I
that's
had to
usually
make-
the way I
You guys
fix
are making
some of these mistakes. Is I'll actually, if the backing comes off and I can get it, I'll throw super glue, sand it real quick, and it cleans it up.
I had to end up
Yeah, I
making
used some
5,000
super glue and some
dollars
activator.
in like 4 days. So I had to figure out, like, I was doing on the mouse. I had to change my whole entire workflow because to get all those done, and it was crazy. So I found, like, how do we get 5,000 little mini dumpsters made, and super glue, and I found out we're doing little nails. I ended up buying 3 finishing nailers because it was just faster than gluing. But tap 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 tap. Next one tap 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 tap. And we were.
So
It was-
are y'all making those pods for like a local school?
Oh,
Uh,
me,
Go ahead, Mike.
this is super glue I use right here. This right here. This is really good on this activator. I don't know. Are you all familiar with that?
Yeah.
Brake glue. Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah, for me, I'm making them for everything. Right now, we have an order of a couple of hundred for a school that's doing them for all their teachers. And then my wife started doing, you remember, I don't know if they're still popular or not. What is it, painting by the numbers or something like that? Where they do like a wine and all the ladies show up and they do those. Yeah, so now we're doing those party events where she shows up and she'll preset like all the vinyl cutting based upon the customer.
Okay.
So we'll have between 20 and 40 at a time, and they'll show up and all the ladies get to paint their paw print, do them for their pets or do their ornaments. So it's a whole mixture of stuff. But yeah, so we got a bunch of little things like that coming up over the next couple weekends that I'm preparing for.
Yeah, those paw prints are those paws are selling like hotcakes. They really are.
Oh yeah.
They really are. You know.
You know what you need, Lauren? You need a really cool work center. I happen to know a guy that makes one that slides out.
Yeah, I know the one thing I'm looking at is I really need a bigger space and I need a second CNC machine. These are a fact. Because I can't turn them out fast enough.
That's why we have the two Maslows. Having two M2s really helped out last year.
Yeah.
It ended up being worth it. It paid itself off pretty quick. I'm streamlining. I've got time. I've been having such a hard time finding employees. So I'm streamlining down to one part of the building. And then I'm making 5 times more just leasing out the offices than I am doing jobs. And so I literally come in once a month, check out to collect rent and then from everybody, and that's about it. So I've been just having fun, and then I playing hockey with my kids. So, and driving a Zamboni now. After 5 years of begging them, they finally let me drive the Zamboni. So
I remember that time you were driving a crane, and
I love driving machinery. Always, my whole life, I've always wanted to learn the Zamboni. It's hard. It's taken more hours to learn a Zamboni than it does to get a private pilot's license. It was literally because you have to learn your ice. It's crazy. It's more than I thought it was.
I'm in no way surprised that you're driving a Zamboni.
Yeah, me neither.
You already have that hockey player look down perfect.
That is on brand. That is just on brand.
So much. I want to put Mr. Biggs on it so bad. When I told him, I was like, there's 2 of them, but I was like, I'm so taking this. There's a McDonald's down the street. I'm like, I'm so driving the Zamboni to the drive-through.
What's up, Dennis?
We was talking about Thursday.
So I was wondering if everybody did everybody get a chance to look at my mock-up of my hanging and pivoting mini frame that I have on the wall? Did everybody get to take a look at that?
Casey, I was looking at that. Does that just have 2 boards that pop out to lock it to the 15 degrees?
Yeah, so I found some table legs on Amazon. They're actually the bracket, and they lock in. There's a push button, they lock up, and then they lock down. And I'm gonna put I can't remember what the dimension was, but it's like I need something like 16-inch boards on the bottom corners. And I'll just, whenever I grab the bottom, I'll press the little buttons and the boards will pop down. And then I pull it out. And then I just let it go and they'll push up against the wall. I'll have a perfect 15-degree angle every time. But when I don't want to use it, I can reach down, push the buttons, fold it up, and the whole thing folds back flat against the wall.
So those hinges you're using are what we use for our little portable table. So we had our classroom, we had tables that fold up against the wall. You press the buttons and they snap up, they lock up against the wall. You press them, the legs fold out and lock down. Yeah, those are perfect. They're not bad on Amazon. They're actually pretty reasonable for the good ones. I found the good ones, but you know what I've been thinking about doing, Casey and Lauren, is doing a barn door style too. I like what you're doing, but also doing a barn door where you hinge at the top where you can slide it over, and then where your legs staying, you can slide it in and out of the way, and then you could also pop those legs out and have it at the angle you want it. But that way, instead of having it on casters, just have it as on a barn door rail running across the side of the garage. And you can move it down or back and forth as you need it.
Yeah, the whole thought was that I didn't want it. I wanted to be able to store it away, kind of like the table I was joking about a little bit ago. I want to be able to tuck it away and fold it up and leave it up against the wall, or pull it out when I need to use it. And, you know, I'm going through a whole shop revamp here. Everything looks like a mess. It looks like a tornado came through here, but yeah, just those little things like that. I mean, it's actually pretty interesting. I mean, it's not a full size 4x8 frame. You could do that. You just use more hinges and make sure you're going into the studs in the wall. But I don't know. I was just curious as to what everybody's thoughts are on that. That actually worked out pretty good.
So
I'll
how
be
much
honest,
floor?
like 4x8 frame. Oh, I'm sorry, Dustin. Go ahead.
I was going to ask, how much floor space are you saving by pushing it up against the wall like that?
Well, it's not. So I have drill presses and band saws and everything else. And I'm in the process of building those flip carts. I don't know if you've ever seen those on YouTube. So if I hold this thing up against the wall, then whenever I'm not doing any woodworking or anything, I can take those cabinets and tables and slide them over or roll them over there and just store them up against it. So it's really about storage space. I'm actually at 15 inches or 16 inches from the wall. Heck, that's a good 15 feet.
Yeah.
15
This is
square
awesome.
feet.
This
Yeah.
is awesome, Casey.
Yeah, that is an awesome idea. That's
This is rad. So
this is the hinge you're using, right? It's like this style that you press
Exactly.
the thing and they lock down.
Yep,
or you pop it up
exactly.
and
yeah, so
Oh.
the big thing that Casey's
That's a good idea.
when he's talking about the legs and having to put the legs out there is you have to have it at a 15-degree angle when it's cutting. So that's one of the really important points of the M2 is that it has to be at that angle. So it can't just cut like flat on the wall. You have to kind of pull it out when you cut because it needs to have actually pulling it down, and it's designed for that 15-degree angle. So that's why he's having it coming out and then going to put those legs on there just so so you all know if you want to make something like that, you just got to make sure that when it's out, it's on that 15-degree angle. But I really like that as like a safe space, a space saving.
That would be something smart for MakerMade to offer a frame build instruction for that, because like most of the issues that I've seen people talk about are space. That's 9% of the people on here that we've heard talk. It's just because that, not because they don't like the idea, not because of the price, because it's the best price. It does functionality, space.
I told Patrick that if he wanted to fund it, I would build one and put the design for 2040 extruded aluminum, so people could actually just buy a box kit, and boom, you'd have a mini frame that you just put a few screws in. You got a perfectly flat level frame, square, and then all you have to do is hinge it to the wall.
How much you get your 2040 though right now? 2040 is pretty expensive right now.
No, it's actually not. So that, you know, the big company everybody talks about, Ziltech. They have the big, they sell 5-pound spools of filament for 3D printers. I mean, they do some crazy stuff. They're literally 15 minutes away from my house, and they sell extruded aluminum, and you can have it pre-cut for an extra like $1.95. It's really cheap, but they have all of that stuff there. So I was going to go down and it's just a box. I mean, it's really cheap and simple and easy to build. But if I could get that frame down pat, then I can get the MakerMade. You guys could sell it as a kit, and it would just be a long box, you know, probably a 1x1 square box with all the metal components. You pull it out, screw it all together, and then just hang it up on the wall. And
especially if you do that hinge in it though, too. If you do that hinge in it where you hook it up so you can then pop those legs, that would be perfect.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. I mean, that to me, that would be a hell of a kit for people to buy to add to their MakerMade order. Instead of having to build your own frame, you have to have table saws or chop saws. This just bolts. You screw it to the wall, and you're hanging your frame, man.
Yeah, I mean, I think
that's going to be directly to the wall, though, right?
Something I want to get more into.
Directly to the wall.
Yeah, you'd have to screw it to the wall. You couldn't build a floating frame like the mini frame right now. It's like based on an L, and some people put it on wheels. But what's funny is if you look in the Facebook, you know, the Facebook forums that we have, probably 95% of the people mount it to the wall. They don't build a frame they can move around their garage.
Yeah, and,
That's
and
me.
wall mounted, a lot of that is just for space too. Like you can make the old Maslow frame, but it takes up a lot of space if you make that.
That's
Maslow.
right. That's right. Well, that's why people buy the M2, right? Because it's up against the wall. It's not a 4x8 CNC laying there taking up half your garage. I mean, that's the whole premises behind the M2 is it takes up less space. So with a folding frame like this, it takes even less space than the M2.
Yeah.
So I mean,
let me know.
right?
Let me know how that goes, because I'm definitely interested in seeing that mini frame design. And we've talked about too, just the viability of trying to have a smaller kit that someone would get. It's just the logistics of figuring all that out is its own bear to try to find all that. But I mean, I'm definitely interested in figuring that out, just to make it easier to where somebody could get a kit that really would have everything. I mean, that's why we offer routers now too on the site. So you really can get everything you need except building the frame. So if we had that final part where you could get that as well as that final package deal, then I definitely think that would be useful.
Oh yeah, most definitely.
Yeah, I think probably, you know, out of the couple of years that I've been working with the Facebook page and answering questions for people, usually I would say probably 70 to 80% of the issues I see people have is accuracy issues because their frames are out of whack, or they're using twisted boards, or their offset isn't correct, or you know what I mean? And
that's the thing. People spend I'm sorry to interrupt. That they spend much more on the premium wood for your frame. It's not that much more.
yeah,
Yeah,
but
I
they don't know that.
You've
They
never
don't know
built
that at
something
the beginning,
before.
right?
Oh, sorry, Casey. What'd you say?
Yeah, people don't know that at the beginning. And you got to remember, some people that buy these, I've seen a lot of folks out there that they're trying to build small businesses like Lauren has. They do Etsy and stuff like that. Well, they don't have a shop full of tools to cut the wood and make sure they got large framing squares to make sure everything is squared when they build the frame. So, you know, I think it'd be nice to have a bolt together kit that is easy to assemble and small packaging, so it could ship easy via FedEx, the whole 9 yards. I don't know.
Honestly, I'll be honest. I would have bought that when I bought my first mouse off, they would have had that. I would have bought that. Just because I was in a hurry to try to get set up or anything else, and so and I have all the tools to do all the wood, obviously, and everything else. But if I just pay an extra $100 and save me a bunch of time, it would have been worth it.
Yeah,
It's
small
hard.
rubber
You've
in
never
there,
built
too.
something out of wood before, and then you're building a frame, and that's why we updated the frame this summer too, so you wouldn't have to cut wood to be able to do it, but you still have to know, like, these measurements have to be exact. This has to be square. This is what square means. It has to be built as good as you can build it to set you up to have accurate cuts, because otherwise you'll just have headaches down the line. It's tough.
And the way I have this little frame here designed is it's a 4x4. So if you think about it, if somebody wants to build a mini frame, then you just buy one of them. If I design it correctly, you can buy two of those frames, bolt them together, and you got a 4x8. So you can use a full-sized frame system, or you can buy one frame and have a mini system, but they still bolt together, so they're upgradable. You know what I mean?
Smart. Yeah.
Yeah, I do, for sure.
Hey,
So
Casey,
Well, let's keep that conversation going. I'll talk to Patrick about that. And
That's a damn good. You definitely should, Drew. I think that would, based on all the conversations I've heard over the last 2 years on here, I think that would open y'all's market up so much.
Yeah, I know. Patrick, we're talking about that when I first met Patrick. We was talking about that if someone can design something like that, that would be amazing.
yeah, that we could use.
Good idea, Patrick. If he doesn't want to fund Casey, I'll fund it.
Yeah, it's also something that could be in the marketplace that people could get.
Well, I priced the design, I priced the material, and it was not too bad. It was right at $150 to build a mini frame. So you think about it, hell, that's what you spend in plywood and everything else today when you get a bigger frame. Maybe a little bit less, but this is
not right now.
kind of like
Well, if you're in a humid area, you don't have to worry about it warping, because the thing is too, like our warehouse during summertime, it gets hot and humid, and that wood will warp.
Yep.
And because they're not going to buy treated wood for those. Even pressure treated wood for that. Nobody, even people that know woodworking, are going to buy premium wood, but they're not going to buy pressure treated wood.
And I thought about just doing it if Patrick or MakerMade didn't want to do it. I thought about doing it myself, but Jesus, then I got to make every one of those frames. You got to cut the aluminum,
I know,
you
it's a lot.
drill and thread the hole.
Hey, one thing I have, Casey, since I'm not too far from you, I have the hydraulic bandsaw. I bought my big hydraulic bandsaw that's the automatic cutting system for all the metal and everything else.
Well, I could have the material cut from Ziltech, so they'll cut it to, I can tell them X number of pieces at this X length, right? But then it's also all the drilling and the threading of the holes for the assembly.
That's what you have a mill for.
Yeah, I know.
Mount them on there. It's aluminum. Mount them on there.
I know, right? Well, this has been great, y'all. Do we have any more questions from anybody or comments before we go?
I was going to bring this up. I know we talked about it a couple of times about when you're stowing your machine and you end up, the chains kind of just go slack, and then the actual bearings just kind of fall off the curve of the ring.
Mhm.
I was actually looking at it, Casey. I'm still waiting on my power unit for my 3D printer to kind of design one. I didn't know if you would want to give it a shot of basically building a snap-in piece that fits above the ring, to where it has plenty of room. There's plenty of space. I was looking at it. It basically just slides in each one of those sides, and it would still have an 1/8 inch of room, but it would be enough to keep the rings or keep the bearings from falling off to the side.
Why would
So
that
when you're-
matter? Why would
When
that
you're
matter
taking
if
it off,
it's
then you're
going?
having to like put the bearings
Yeah,
back.
so you know how like you take the ring down and you set it down and you're constantly having to pick it up and realign the bearings to the ring.
Yeah. I got you. I'm just, I don't know. That way you wouldn't have to sit there, and once you let the sled down, then you wouldn't have to lift it back up and try to.
Yeah, you wouldn't have to, because every time I do it, I
Okay.
stow it. I'm constantly having to realign everything, make sure everything's good. And even one time I didn't pay close enough attention, and I was like, why is my machine cutting all wonky? It's because it wasn't aligned on one of the bearings. But it was just a matter of like, I was like, you're absolutely right. Like the cost of adding a third bearing to each side is just, there's no win there. But if you could do a little snap-in piece of plastic, all it does is it keeps it from sliding off too far, because it's got a grace of about 1/4 inch.
So I'll tell you, one of I know people, and I've stated this on Facebook several times. I never stow my unit. I just let
Oh,
it.
you never take it up?
No, I never. So I did the calculation on the stretch on the chain, and you
Okay.
have less than 1 millimeter of stretch over God, how long it takes it to do it. But hell, your machine usually has 1 to 2 millimeters, even 4 millimeters of accuracy. So who gives a crap? It doesn't matter. You can store all you want, but it doesn't. I just leave mine hanging all the time.
So how
Now,
do you,
I think
how do you, whenever you add more material to it? Because I go through material quite a lot. Do you stow it then?
No, I just lift it out, put the material, and then slide the whole thing underneath the M2. Yeah, I
usually I end up like
don't
stowing
hang it.
everything. That's when I stow it, is when I'm putting new material on.
Oh,
Do you have a bolt right in the middle? So I put a bolt right in the dead center, and I have a hole. I drilled a hole in my sled, and I just literally hook mine up there, put my
that's the
material up,
one I'm talking about.
set it back down, and that my chains don't come off that way.
No, not that.
Well,
That's not the
that's-
problem. I'm trying to get it to where the blue component, that's where the chains attach to the ring.
Oh, okay.
That's where I'm trying to create a
That
little
doesn't pop
plastic
on and
piece.
off those, yeah.
So those don't flip side to side or fall off, to where it constantly, So you can kind of
Every
see
time I
it
move my
there.
sled manually by hand, I have to check that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I always
So
check
I was
those two,
basically
too,
looking,
always
you can
pop
see
up.
where the little indention is, putting a plastic piece in there, that all it does is it locks it into place and it can't flop off to the side.
Yeah, I mean, you could do something like that. Like I said, my preference is I just never hang the dang thing. I'll just put my board up on one side like a 4x8 sheet. I'll put it on. I'll put it on one end. I have to do it myself. Nobody helps me put these on, so I put it on at an angle on one end, and then I start sliding it down. And I grab my M2 and I just pull it out a little bit, and I slide the sheet underneath of it all the way down by one hand.
And
I've been loading it.
I've had mine. See, I've never hung mine, except for I hang it for like maybe 2 minutes when I'm putting material on. But besides that, they've been hanging for years. Like one has been hanging for almost 3 years now. or 2 years or whatever it is now, and I haven't had to change stretch or anything like that.
I can definitely see the logic of the lack of the stretch, but there's no way I'm going to get away with it for the amount of other. I'm using a lot of scrap woods. There's a lot of, I go from 4x8 to 2x4 to all those things, and to load that, sliding it in and out isn't going to be as simple, just because I'm using so much random shapes of wood. Even recently we started finding, like, I was like, hey, I'm potentially like moving for the Army in about 6 months to 7 months. Like, I've got to start like consuming some of these scraps instead of buying new material. So I'm
Where are you moving
really
to?
random shapes are going on the board now.
That's all. I'm with you though, Lauren. That I've always used. So I have little jigs too, and I even have special jigs that I jig all those pieces. So I have pre-cut little jigs. I can, because I'm 99% of what I use is scrap. I don't use consistent sizes except for maybe like that Beer Fest sign. We'll get a 4x8 of that, but most 90% of the time, 95% of the time, it's just scrap. I grab around real quick.
Right.
I can look at that and probably pull them. I have an extra set of those rollers, but it's going to be a little while. I got a bit of a back order for these dust collections. The thing is running day and night now.
I've got it close to design. I just don't have a printer right now. So I was going to finish the design if you were willing to take and give it a test print, something like that, just to see if it works.
I have another one else to send you, Lauren. I apologize because I actually have a friend that had one of the 8. I forget which one they are, Drew, but they were using him. He has a warehouse over here next to Amazon, so they used him for overflow, and they just disappeared and left him with 1,500 3D printers and all those lasers and stuff. And so
1,500 3D printers.
Yeah, I'll take one of those.
He's been selling. He's been selling for like $150.
Are we giving them away?
No, he's been selling for like $100 a pop. I'll send you. They're like A-nets or something. They're actually. I'll be honest. They're actually pretty. They're pretty decent builds for what they are. They're not great printers, but they work. They work okay. I mean,
my only challenge I've run into is
MakerMade's a lot better, but it's.
What do you know about Drew? What is
getting parts from China is a pain. I've been waiting over a month for this power unit to arrive, and it's still showing.
Oh, you might as well just throw that printer away.
A 12 volt? Is it a power supply unit?
Yeah, it's for a G-Tech.
Is it a 12 volt or 24?
12. Is it?
12.
It's a 12, I think.
I think it is 12. I can double check.
If you check, I might have a spare. I've got spare power units.
Anybody?
Okay. Yeah, I was literally just checking it a few minutes ago, and it's been since September since I ordered this thing.
Yeah, I felt bad too because I was going to mail you that, Lauren and Casey and Drew. I had some stuff. This laser stuff I was going to send y'all, and I've been meaning to do all that stuff. I've been going around the clock and
trust me, I'm there. I'm transitioning out of a job right now, so it's been chaos. Normally,
Lauren,
I'm here almost every week, but this last 2 months have been just chaos.
Yeah, it's last month's been.
Hey, Lauren, have you checked local areas like a makerspace for access to a 3D printer?
I actually haven't. That's a good idea.
So there's some libraries around my area in the KC metro area that have makerspaces, and it's completely free. You just have to reserve time.
Whoa.
That's kind of I'll search that now.
Okay.
Whoa.
Yeah, I'll just Lauren. Later today. I'll go get you that printer, that A-net mailed out, and then you'll have 2 of them when that other one comes in.
I appreciate it. It's just one of those things that I was like, it'll probably take 2 or 3 weeks for things to ship, and now it's been a month and a half, and I'm like, okay, it may take a lot longer than I thought.
Yeah, I'll do it because I've got them. They're brand new in box, still sealed, so I'm
gonna text you. I'm gonna bug you and be like, "Hey, did you send in the printer?"
Yeah, I'll get. Yeah, I do. Remind me here a little bit. I'm finishing up. I'm gonna go drop a load from the trailer, and then I've been going to the chiropractor every other day because I've been moving a bunch of heavy machinery, and so I've got that 2-ton crane. But some of the stuff I've been moving is maxing that out, so I'm gonna have to use a 2-ton lift along with a 1-ton cable hoist to cut, and I'm doing it all by hand. And yesterday my wife
you're just pulling it with the Zamboni, and you're just set.
Well, I was moving one of our toolboxes, and my wife came home. She's like, I had 2x4s with I had cut some 4x4 planks. I had all these Home Depot buckets filled with water in our entryway. She's like, what are you doing? I was like, I had to make a lever system. So what I did is I put the 2x4 under there, and then I put 4 buckets, Home Depot buckets filled with water to cantilever it up to get it over the steps. And I was like, because I couldn't get a lift or anything into the house, so it's like by the time I do it. But yeah, so my poor back has been just like shot to hell. But
Well, Dennis, I see you got your hand up.
Yeah, I did. I'm new to this Zoom. I've been trying to talk. I don't know if my microphone keeps going off. I wanted to talk to Lauren. He was having that stuff when he the blurring on when he cuts. If he's doing a lot of pieces, when I cut plywood, I did a lot of stuff before the machine, but I always put masking tape down over and then put the lines on it to cut. When you did with saws and that, it stops the burring. And then when I have to do a lot of little pieces with the router, what I did is they sell this stuff that real estate people use. It's the plastic, little sticky stuff on it. When they're selling a house, and if you take that and put it on plywood, it'll stop that burring. And you can do it whatever piece of plywood and it doesn't leave any residue or anything, but it'll stick, and it'll probably make the sled slide a lot faster or smoother too.
Can you tell me what that material was that you used?
They sell it as it's a put down to stop muddying up the like when
Are you talking about?
It's a carpet protector, but it's 3 foot wide. It comes in like 100-foot rolls.
the gaffing tape.
Carpet protector?
Yeah, it's a carpet protector. It's got a little tacky. So when the people are coming through, they do it at household sales. They do it for open houses and real estate to protect the carpet.
Is it called U-line?
They have it. You can get it at a Home Depot or any supply thing if you go in and tell them what you want. And the tackiness isn't there, but it works really great putting it down on the plywood, and then it won't splinter. I was a custom cabinet builder, so I built, I had to cut a lot of plywood, and I always put that on when I did pieces with a router. Like if you cut off one of those panel doors, you put a mask 2-inch and then draw the line. So when your saw goes, it won't buzz it. This works under the same principle as that.
Just put a link in the chat.
Yeah, I see. I think a carpet protection film, like Tape Man Blue or something like that.
That's what it is, yeah.
Most of it's clear that I always got, but
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm looking at now.
I think that is it, Dustin. I think that's what you're talking about. Because it's sticky on one side. I've seen that before.
Yeah, it says it is. That's interesting.
That's what I use.
With a little piece to see.
Jordan, I'm not going to this one out for you
That's a
here.
great tip. Yeah. Thanks, Dennis. That's awesome. I didn't know that either. That's awesome.
Yeah, I'm gonna add that to my cart now. I'm gonna give that a shot. I appreciate it.
You can also use mud, right? Like when you're doing tape and float for like sheetrock, you can use that, let it dry up. All right. And then it sounds really easy. Yeah. I already seen people do it on the CNC machines. And
scrape it flat and then it dries.
Yep. And you just put one little layer, because what's going to happen is what's going to chip is the top of the mud, but of course you let it dry, and then you just sand it off real fast.
Oh, okay.
That's actually a good idea too. Yeah.
Cool. Well, that's great. It's at the end. I like it.
Hey, Bob, I see Bob. There's a new guy I haven't seen on here for a while. Bob, you have any questions, Bob? Or did he leave?
Oh, I think he left.
Oh, he left.
Dennis, I just saw you talking, but I didn't hear you, man.
I said, I might try that the next time I do it, because I just did a sample cut, and that's the first thing someone saw, that I didn't use the right bit. Well, I cut that little cutting board out. I did the square, and I didn't go all the way deep. I just did one pass, and it did the square. Everything was good, so I downloaded from Easel that little cutting board. It wasn't very big, and when I showed it in the picture, and I said, oh, I finally got it going. This was my first thing I carved out. And someone said, oh, you didn't use the right bit. And I says, I was just trying to get the machine working. Now I can get down to fine tuning the bits. But I'm glad that Lauren said that, because I'm going to try that on my next cuts too. I never even thought to do that.
Yeah. Well, that's great, y'all.
everyone's gonna find out. I think that's gonna work really good for him, especially when he says there's 100 of the things.
Well, that's perfect. I mean, that's exactly why we want to get together every week and talk about this and share these ideas. So that's
Great.
fantastic. Yeah. All right, everybody. Well, yeah, have a good weekend, and we'll see some of y'all next week. Take care. If you need anything, reach out to us on Facebook or email. And we'll get you going.
Hey, Casey, I need to talk to you about that table build you made, man, with the one that pops out, that slides out. I need that. I need that in my life.
Funding it isn't the hard part. The hard part is mass manufacturing the damn things.
All right.
See you guys.
All right. Bye,
All right,
guys.
guys.
Bye.
Great.